And here we go. Mostly wanting to try to play versus some zombies, see how it goes. This hand's very weak, but I'll keep. It's fine versus like black green or Teamer or something, but versus mono red, we'll just get crushed with this hand most times. That's probably bad. So I guess that's a castable spell that I'm not happy to cast. It's looking like it may be a quick one. Hand's not really coming together here. Boom mat. Hello, little boom mat. I'm going to cast a Meltdown because the plan is to have the Alliance post-Fumigate, but we'll see how it gets. How you doing today, Mr. James? Rip. So we're going to have to let him resolve whatever he wants. Looking for a land? That's typically not a good start to my days. I guess I can counterspell it if it's a good enough card. Opponent's not respecting Blessed Alliance. This is a competitive league too, so it's just a mistake people commonly make. Planes, please? Well, none of you are planes. But a land's better than nothing. I did not play. I was a coward. I played the Commander Challenge instead, and we got top 16, so always happy to get a top 16. Top 16's around $26 profit. But I was too much of a coward to play the PTQ. Blue White Approach got second though. We've actually trying some of the cards he tried in today's build. We've moved a couple of 40s to the main, the Unsummons Dragon, and now we're up to the full 4 cats in the sideboard. The full 4 cats in the sideboard. Because kitty cats go meow, 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 meow. I'm a pretty big fan of the full 4 cats. Just arbitrary burn spell. I guess I could counterspell it. Kind of just want to protect my life, and I'm going to be tapped out on the following turn, so this might be the last time that we actually get to use a card like Supreme Will. And 3 life is a lot of life in this spot. It also may bait him into playing a creature. That's kind of interesting. That's something that sounds worth trying. I feel pretty good versus the control decks anyway, though. Wow, he dumped his hand for that. He had a Hazoret. He had double Hazoret in his hand, and he dumped his hand. What was he wanting to draw better than that? So like if he rode himself into a Chandra, great. But besides that, the cards he had in hand are obviously better than anything he can put on board. I'm just gonna pass here. Lost Legacy still won? Wow. That's the type of thing that would make O'Ray Saudi. I guess I'm just going to take the 3, and I'm going to Fumigate, and then probably take 4, but then we have double Blessed Alliance. Well, I guess we don't have to take the 3 yet. We can see what we hit here. I kind of want both of them. The The land's probably not good enough. Just too high of a chance that we can find more lands. I feel pretty confident in this game, with the exception of like if he resolves a exactly Chandra, and then even if he resolves Chandra, I don't feel that terrible. He's got a double Earthshaker in his graveyard. He discarded a Chandra earlier too. He discarded Chandra Hazoret to that Beaumont to stop me from gaining 1 life. I am not a fan of that play. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this thing here because waiting to gain 4 life and kill it doesn't really do anything. I'm always pretty okay, yeah. This deck's great, man. It's always okay. Oh, well, there's an approach. And we still have 8 life in hand. He's got another Earthshaker. I'll beat Chandra at this point. There's not a card in his deck that I care about. Him sacking this Beaumont was loose. He had Hazoret and Chandra in his hand when he did that. Well, that's a good card. Also, don't care about it being a good card. It gets considerably better when he has that. Alright, maybe we don't win. Maybe I spoke prematurely. Maybe I spoke prematurely. Meh. Probably not. I probably did not speak prematurely. We are going to lose 5 life this turn, though, which is a bunch. I mean, we're only going to lose 3 because of the Blessed Alliances, but sure. So, opponent sacrifices, we gain 4. So, goodbye Beaumont, and we gain 4 life. Goodbye Beaumont, and we gain 4 life. And then we lose 5. My favorite thing to say, we're in fairly good shape. We're 6 cards away from winning, 5 cards away from winning, and we can double both those. So he has to do 16 damage in 1 turn. Hello, Mr. McCarty. How are you today? Sure. I want to F6, and he's tapped out, so just gonna go ahead and draw my cards. And yeah. Whoops, didn't mean to reveal my hand. Just wanted to look at our pretty approach. Have you noticed that our approaches always line up like that, which is kind of cute, but whatever. Anyway, to the sideboard. I've not really thought about sideboarding plans now that we've changed several of these new cards. Like we don't have the unsummons and stuff to take out anymore, so that's kind of awkward. I'm not sure if I even want the Gearhulks anymore. Don't know if I actually have the room for the Gearhulks anymore. But these are the cards that I would consider bringing in. I think Fumigates is a little too slow, and I never want to draw more than 1 Fumigate in this match. I think Hieroglyphs is a little bit slow, and on the draw, I like Censor more than Supreme Will, so I would cut more Supreme Wills than Censors. But that gets us to the problem to where I'm normally taking out 2 unsummons, and I'm not normally bringing in the 2 extra cats, so I don't know what to do with the last 2 cards. I'm thinking Gearhulk just doesn't come in anymore. They are to Authority's main. The changes that we've made for today is we have 2 extra Authorities main and 2 extra Regal carousels on the side. Over the Authorities that used to be on the side. So I don't know what I'm really supposed to take out anymore. Normally it's a pretty clean cut I want to take out, but now I'm thinking that like the Torrential Gearhulk's just not good enough anymore. Sorry, I'm cleaning my glasses right now. If it's making any weird noise in the mic, I apologize. Yes, I wear glasses, cause nerd. I hit my mic like 3 times too. 4 times. Sweet, hit it again. So we gotta actually figure this sideboard plan out at some point. The cards that seem the least good in this match to me are maybe I don't want the extra carousel. Maybe I don't want a 7th approach. 3rd approach. Rip. Cost 7 mana. It's like some number of these cards are probably going to get sided out. But I really need to figure out how to sideboard this deck. I think I lose a lot of equity just not being able to sideboard the deck well enough. I'm assuming it's Gearhulk. Like, they may have a Braid. And Gearhulk doesn't really buy that many things back, so I'm assuming it's Gearhulk. No. I wear my glasses because I want to look cool, man. It's the hipster thing to do. I have 20/20 vision. I just want to be a hipster. I'm blind even with my glasses on. I'm lucky I can see this computer screen. This hand's pretty weak. Thinking about mulliganing it. Yeah. Away you go, hand. Alright, well this hand's the exact same except worse, but I won't go to 5 when it's playable. It's not great. The glimmers are a little too slow. We had 2 interactive spells, but we'd have probably had the sensor to 1 right off the top. I just think we can do better. Like glimmers on the draw versus mono red's not really where we want to be at. It could have been a keep though. I'm known to mulligan way too much. That's something I'm known for, so could easily have been wrong. We have these 4 authorities too, which makes me want to sideboard a little bit more than normal because like they're just so impactful when they're when you draw one. Just so impactful when you can draw one. Still would have to draw pretty well. Our hand's not good. Well, that card's great. Hopefully he doesn't have too many payoff cards. We just want it to be one nice Chandra or one nice Hazoret and the rest of it not be that great. Guess it's not a Chandra. He would have probably dealt an extra damage to us. Yeah. Hello, friend. Hello, friend Kenra. Man, 4 Kenras is going to be annoying to beat. Alright, so we'll cycle this one. Oh, it's another authority. Right on time, authority. Ooh, another kitty cat. I wish I gained life for when I played creatures too. How sweet would authority be if it was when any creature came into play? Obviously couldn't cost 1 mana if that's what it did, but ooh boy, that would be sweet. No Glorybringer, please. Rip. Chandra's very good here. Don't know why he didn't deal the extra point of damage to me. I guess he's trying to bait some kind of card out of my hand. What do you discard? Another Chandra. So all we gotta do is get around to 1 Chandra. It's gonna be hard for us to beat the Chandra without drawing Cast Out. Wow, he just did 2 damage to me. Opponent does not care at all. Sure. Alright, it's probably not going to be that hard to beat Deshandra now. He didn't have any other spells. Oh, played a land first, that way I can F6. Well, looks like we'll be able to get under Deshandra now. He does get to draw an extra card, but can't kill all three of them, I don't think, unless he gets incredibly lucky. Sorry, can't kill all three of them without Deshandra losing loyalty, is what I meant to say. And Deshandra losing loyalty is about all I care about in this spot. Well, that's a good one, too. And by good one, I mean that's a good blocker, but it's not a good attacker because we have double authority. The Seagate Wreckage is definitely going to do some work, though. He did not attack, which makes me sad. Oh, nice top deck of a shock. I hate you, dude. That was a good shock that opponent drew. He can trade his Chandra now for the Regal if he wants. Or he can top deck another burn spell. Like I said, he needs to top deck double burn spell. He had an extra draw to do it than I thought he would have, but that's fine. This Seagate Wreckage is absolutely slaying me. He's tapped out. Let's go ahead and cycle this. Blessed Alliance doesn't do anything. He can't attack because attacking doesn't do anything. No, we're not in very good shape anymore. We still have a lot of good draws, though. I guess we're still in fine shape, too. Like, we're not in bad shape, but, like, the Seagate Wreckage is just doing so much work. We're going to sack the Blighted this turn. He can't attack, so we don't have to worry about anything like that. Yeah, definitely going to sack at the end of turn. The second I have 6 lands, which is, this is the first turn we could sack it. So, draw 3. Oh, that's a good one. Go ahead and main phase play this. See if we can find anything we want. We don't want the land. We'll take the draw 2. I kind of want to attack. It might be the last turn that I can attack. Just gonna attack Deshandra here, and we have the meltdown to put on that so we don't lose anything. So we're just trying to keep the loyalty in check. Gain 2 life when we do it too. Just trying to keep the loyalty a little in check. Not worried about the Earthshaker hitting me for 4. That's like the least of my concern right now. What? That was a good draw for his turn, wasn't it? Well, I guess we're going to cycle to Illumination then. We probably need our land next turn. There's a cast out, alright. Well, there's something. Just want to untap land in our top 4 cards. Probably going to keep both of those. Can't imagine a reason not to keep both of those. Yeah, can't imagine a reason not to keep both of those. We can cast out Deshandra and just slam the big guy. He's got 2 more Kenras in the graveyard, though. This game's not easy. That little Seagate wreckage has done so much work. I have now cast, or I've cycled a Censor, I've cycled a Hyro, I've cycled another Censor, and I've played 2 Glimmers, and my opponent's 1 card deeper into his deck than I am. Just to keep things in perspective, my opponent is literally 1 card deeper in his deck than I am. Which is absolutely insane. That being said, we have more life than him, and we still have a Blessing Alliance, and we still have a Life Linker. And we have double Glimmer. If he ever attacks with just the Hazoret, it dies. He's unlikely to attack with just the Hazoret ever. Block here, block here. So he'll probably sack that, and then the Hazoret will probably die. Sure. Target opponent sacrifices an attacking creature, then we'll keep our cat. And Hazoret's gone. And now we have double Glimmer. We have double Glimmer and a 3-turn clock versus nothing. I think our opponent drew very well that game, and our sideboard plan just mauled him. Card for the turn. It won't let us draw the extra cards. Anyway, 2-0-4-0 versus Mono Red. And we move on to the next game. I don't think we're always going to beat Mono Red that easily. Like, our draws obviously were very good. They lined up very well, but I do feel kind of a favorite in the match. And if I feel like I'm a favorite versus Mono Red and a favorite versus Zombies and a favorite versus Black Green, the deck can't be that bad. You know, you can do it after damage and everything. You can do it anytime during the attack step. So, like, even if he hadn't sacked the Beaumont Courier and the Beaumont Courier died, I could still do it before the end of the attack step. Yeah, so this is one of those little tricks that a lot of people don't know about sacrifice attacking creature. It can just be any time during that little step. Thank you, Andrew. I don't think I've saw you before, so welcome to the chat. Now we're playing versus a 3-1. I actually like going second with this deck. But we got to play. We'll keep it. This hand's fine. Need to draw some lands, but we have at least one interactive spell. If we get the first land, we should be able to Supreme Will to second lands. We have a cycle card. As bad as it sucks to discard draw 2, missing my land step is just too much of a negative. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to ditch this guy even though I don't want to. And this is how this deck most commonly loses. It has 25 lands though, so this doesn't happen that often. Unfortunately, it still does happen some. We hadn't missed our land drop, though. Obviously, we would have counter spells on this turn and counter spells on next turn. The Blessed Alliances aren't great when he's got a Whirler in play. Just want to use my mana efficiently is why I went ahead and dumped that. Alright, well, looks like we at least get to play. Hopefully they draw a bunch of, like, removal spells. So they have at least a forest in their hand, and they're going to play a spell this turn, I assume. Really? They're not going to play a spell this turn? That's awkward. Something else that I found out versus blue decks is generally... Wow. Okay. No land in the top 4? We'll take the Fumigate because I do think they're going to resolve something. It's generally better to play something on the turn that your blue opponent wants to cast their Glimmer, as opposed to just casting it on a turn that they're not going to use their mana for anything relevant anyway. Sure. Not worried about taking 1 or 2 damage from Thopters. Alright. Not worried about taking 3 damage from Thopters. There's the forest that we've saw. It's kind of a pretty forest. Some Mark Pole art. Sure. We take a fairly decent hit here. We go ahead and look for a plains. Neither of them are plains, so they both go on the bottom. Well, there's a plains. Not necessarily the plains we wanted, but it is in fact a plains. We'll go ahead and play this. They do play Glorybringers, and some of them even have big Chandra main deck. I find either of those spells pretty unlikely from our opponent in this spot, but they always could have them. Yeah, so we're going to take a big hit, and then he's going to resolve something next turn. But we have Fumigate online, so we don't hate things too bad right now. Very happy we kept the Fumigate from earlier. And we have Blessed Alliance plus Counterspell for anything that resolves for the next turn. This little card's still annoying, but like I said, we have plenty of life. We have an additional 8 life with these 2 cards. Yeah, they should, but, I mean, you also have to put enough pressure on me to hurt me, right? Just giving me infinite time doesn't really help, and slapping me for 6 a turn doesn't seem like it's very much pressure when we have cards that literally gain us 4 life for 2 mana. So, I feel we put a cast out on bottom, but I feel pretty confident versus any spell that is not exactly Chandra right now. Like, Little Chandra is the only card I don't think we can beat. Other than Little Chandra and, like, all of our approaches being in our bottom 5 cards of our deck or something like that, I would be surprised to lose. That being said, I've been surprised before, I'll be surprised again, so. Yeah, the authority's kind of good. I mean, it's worse versus Gideon and stuff like that. And the guy who played this deck lost to Gideon in the finals of the PPTQ? Sorry, of the PTQ. So, like, maybe done summons are needed? I don't know. Even if he has a negate, we still have Supreme Will to protect it. Alright, so he's done. The writing was on the wall. Will we draw an approach anytime soon? Yeah, we're probably fine. Now, Cyborg versus Teamer is much, much, much harder because they bring in 4 negates and they bring in a nice Planeswalker package. So, as usual, I bring in all of the ways to win, really, that aren't approach because I don't know how consistent approach is post board. On the draw, I always cut these 2 hieroglyphics. I always cut a couple Supreme Wills, and I always cut a Censor. These negates probably ain't coming in, by the way. I'm just like looking at stuff. I don't think the negates are really good enough in general. It's probably right to take all the approaches out, but I kind of like leaving some approaches in just because of the getcha factor. Censors aren't really good on the play or the draw versus the Teamer decks because if they just draw 1 servant a conduit, they're kind of under the censor. I bring the Hours of Revelation in simply because they do play a bunch of Chandras. That's the 5th mana. I'll go ahead and play it even though it's probably worth keeping the cycle. That's one of their better cards versus us. That's a good enough card that we're willing to trade the Blessed Alliance straightforward if given the opportunity. He can just deal too much damage before we get to Fumigate, and the Fumigate itself. Nice. Did he have the tiebreakers to squeak into the top 16, or was it just the 32? I was really hoping he got the top 16. I really want Dave to have success. Dave is good people. This deck's incredibly fun and actually pretty good. It has a fail rate. It loses to itself a little bit. Just the land issues, but other than that, I like everything about this deck. Like I said, the Longtusk Cub can just deal too much damage. I should have moved him my block and spent 2 energy. That was a play mistake. I was talking and not really paying attention. But yeah, that was a punt. Yeah, but the 30 seconds still good. He crushes with that deck. I cannot win with Death Shadow to save my life, but Dave is just a baller with the deck. Yeah, not letting him spend that 2 energy was a pretty annoying mistake by me. I make mistakes like that all the time when I'm talking. Like those common mistakes that you just never really make. The second Fumigate's pretty nice here. Because we're going to at least take 1 giant hit. Assume the opponent won't play anything else to the board. I'm probably also not going to cast a Fumigate just straight into a negate. I'm probably just going to play the cat. Huh. Fiery Justice. That's kind of a sweet card. It's one of the reasons to play Naya Company, I guess. I'm glimmering during his second main phase instead of going to the end step. Just trying to give him a reason to play a land that I don't think he's, or play another creature that I don't think he's going to. I assume he held up mana to try to negate the cat, so I think it's worth just like not letting him negate the cat. Or negate the Fumigate. I talk very terribly. This is really only bad if he has Big Chandra, but if he has Big Chandra, we probably weren't winning anyway. We definitely weren't winning anyway if he also had negate. This is fine versus Little Chandra. This is fine versus So that's worth 4. He can minus 3 to put it at 7. Might as well put all 7 in front of it. If he's got like a random burn spell or whatever to save the Bristling Hydra, it opens up Fumigate. If not, we get a Hydra off the board. Because again, I think my Fumigate's going to get counterspelled anyway, so I'm not worried about all of this. If we draw a land, I'm just going to slam the Linvala. If we don't draw a land, I have to play the Fumigate and hope that it resolves. Probably doesn't resolve, but that's fine. Unfortunately, we didn't draw the land. We would have definitely just slammed Linvala. We wouldn't have played around anything. Like, he probably sideboards most of his removal out. Maybe not all, but probably most. Unfortunately, we died a Glorybringer if he has it, but like I said, I wanted to cast a Linvala, but can't cast it if you don't have mana. He could easily still have a second negate, which means I would probably cast the Linvala yet again. Yep, not given the option, so if he's got the negate, we lose, but we played the only spells that we were able to play with the hand that we were given. Well, alright, not dead. Being not dead's better than being dead. Being not dead is always better than being dead. Ronus, that's a good one. And again, we still don't have the land. We're really far behind because we're not hitting these lands. So if we cast out on the Ronus, we're just dead because of the desert. If we play Blessed Alliance, we're going to go to 10. And we're just dead to the... not dead to the desert, I guess. We play Cat. That doesn't help a whole lot because of the trample. I guess we're going to Blessed Alliance. And hope it's good enough. And we missed the land yet again. Sometimes you go 20 cards deep and don't find your 6th land. You can't win those games. Two. Alright, so they can both attack. He has a counterspell, we're dead. He didn't have a counterspell last turn though, so maybe he won't again. The desert can only be used as a sorcery. Man, I wish these deserts could be used as instants. Alright, so he drew another negate and we're dead. Happens. Felt like we were a massive favorite. Thought it was actually hard to lose that game, but we lost it anyway. Do I want to change anything in the sideboard? He didn't really show us anything. The sensors are a little bit better on the play. This card typically just gets cycled, so maybe I want the other sensor on the play. But for the most part, we're just good to go and hope we hit the lands. Drawing a 6th land in this deck's pretty vital. It doesn't give trample or anything. I didn't see a misplay by him, but maybe I don't remember something. Like the desert doesn't give trample. I might not have been paying enough attention. This hand's fine. It's obviously not great. But we have a sensor for his turn 2 play, which is relevant. We have 4 lands already for a Glimmer. He mulliganed, and then he put on bottom. We have a 5th land. I'll probably censor any spell he plays here. Especially if it's a Lone Tusk Cub. Yeah. Lone Tusk Cub can just deal too much damage. Okay, fair, fair. So I have a way to stop the Refiner from dealing damage to us, and we have a Glimmer. It depends on what he does, decides what we do. Essence Scatter's not a bad card. I wouldn't mind to have a couple Essence Scatters either. I think Rudy had a build that had some Essence Scatters, but I've not tried it yet. We're trying a 40s main right now. 40s of main have been actually pretty good. Don't want either of those lands. We already have 6. There's a Fumigate. Probably just going to cast a Fumigate while we can. It prevents a good amount of damage. And even if he follows it up with a Hydra, it's not the end of the world. Obviously don't want him to follow it up with a Hydra, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. The Hydra technically doesn't attack through Linvala. We have a cast out for that, so... Wait, what? Oh. Why does it put a mana down there? Have a Censor for a Glorybringer or a Meltdown for like a Ronus or something? That's a tracker. That's a pretty good one. Could censor a post-combat play. Probably won't if it's a creature. Not a creature? Fine. Fine. Don't play a creature. See if we care. You can use as our mana best. Well, darn. I kind of just want to jam the Fumigate. Nah. It's a 4-turn clock and he might not be able to answer it, so. If things go bad, we still have a Fumigate. He may have sideboarded back in Harness Lightnings, though, which is, again, still fine. Him getting to keep the Tireless Tracker's pretty bad, though. It being 2 mana has been extremely useful. Yeah, I sideboard out a sensor almost every game. I could understand definitely cutting a sensor. I'm more hesitant on cutting any of our 2-mana interactive spells because the mono red match is just so good. Alright. So he sideboarded that in. That's fine. We assumed he would. I've thought about stasis snares over the two, like, the unsummons that are in most people's builds. I've thought about 2 snares over that. Got that up to dealing a damage now? It is. I'm probably cutting the Hour of Revelation, though. The Hour of Revelation is really only in the sideboard because there's still some decks that float around, like the black-white token decks and stuff. I'd rather Glimmer still. I'm willing to let him draw another card. Yeah, the Hour's not good. It's really basically only because of the black-white Revelation decks and stuff. That's decks similar to that are the only reason I still have one in the sideboard. I'm down to 1. I'm probably cutting it as well. I run 2 Descents. So I probably made a play mistake earlier when I didn't just kill the Tireless Tracker as soon as we saw it. This is coming back to bite us. He's got to draw multiple extra cards because of it. Like, he's 3 cards deeper in his deck than we are in our deck. And you see what our deck is designed to do. So that's probably a massive play mistake. I should have probably just jam slammed the that exact turn. I should have probably just windmill slam Fumigate and not let him draw those cards. I think that was a pretty big play error by me. Tap double red. It's just a whirler. Yeah, I don't like how I played this game. That being said, it's not over yet, but I still don't like how I played this game. Sure. Guess we'll go ahead and melt down this thing. We really want to draw 2s now, but we've already gone through 2 of them, so the odds of us drawing one's not particularly high. No reason to attack. I'd probably trade the Angel for the Lumbering Falls at this point, if given the opportunity. But that may just be wrong. Yeah, I definitely played this game poorly for anybody who's paying attention. Another Chandra Rip. They have exactly 2 of those. Top 2 in this top 24 cards. That's pretty hurtful. What is that? Does he have a Glorybringer too? Is this a leftover Chandra Glorybringer? Really? guess I can't block anymore because I have to attack Deshandra. Well, drawing a couple lands at this spot in the game isn't what we wanted. Yeah, I punted this game, I think. I mean, I might not have won, but I definitely made a play error this game. Let's say it that way. I 100% should have killed the tracker on sight instead of letting him draw. I think it was 3 or 4 cards with it. I think it was bad, or maybe I'm thinking hindsight. Maybe it wasn't a punt. Maybe it was the right play, and I just could have been the right play, I guess. Anything to give some energy right now is just devastating. Yeah. Anything to give some energy is devastating. We really got to draw a cast out. No cast out. And I say cast out, but blue white manlands would be insane. It's not over yet. We got 1 turn to draw a cast out. It's probably over. Good luck saves us here. Incredibly good luck would save us here. We don't have any reasonable way to win, let's put it that way. He's only got 6 damage on board, so like a cast out getting rid of this technically keeps us alive. That does not keep us alive. Now all he needs is spells and we're dead. You could not have a spell, I guess. If he doesn't have a spell, we could draw like approach into approach and still win. I'm assuming he's got at least a negate at this point, though. Yep. A second spell would definitely kill us. Alright, we're dead. I would have to think real hard. It was probably a punt not to kill the tireless tracker the second I could. Quick restart to fix spoiler command. I don't know what that means. That may have been a big misplay. I'm not actually sure. On hindsight, it seems like a misplay, but I'd actually have to think about the situation to decide whether it was a misplay or not. Anyway, onward to the next game. I guess I'll pull up the deck list for those who care. And for those that are new here, you can click the Twitter link down below if you want to see every time I go live and the deck list I play. Multiple dead draws? I mean, drawing lands isn't really that dead. You drew a bunch of lands too. We started playing a commander again and we're pretty not happy about it. So we gotta win 1 out of the next 2 to get our pity chest. And I have about 1 hour and 15 minutes before the Pauper challenge starts, so. What game? Trogdor the Burninator. That sounds like the type of player that's going to have basic mountains and hitting me in the head with creatures. I'll get my cell phone so I can see if there's actually any new follows. Don't have a second monitor, so can only do it with the cell phone. Oh god. This hand's fine. It's obviously not any hand that we're happy to have, but it's fine. Thank you for following, Math Puppy. Even though we don't like math in here. Oh, it's Ramp. Ramp is not a good match at all. Ramp is a miserably, miserably bad match. I am not going to stream to Pauper. We're going to try Scred Delver, though I don't play Pauper, so I have no idea how good it is, and I expect to do very, very bad. But I think the challenges are good enough EV that I need to start learning. So I'm going to jump right in and play the challenge instead of practicing in any leagues or anything. Pretty sure I just have to counter any ramp spell. Ramp's one of our harder matches. It's probably the hardest match in my experience. I have to counterspell this too, even though he can just untap and have Hours of Devastation, but... Or sorry, Hours of Promise. I think that's the green one, right? The problem with their deck is they just have to play 7 lands and we lose. I thought Blue-Red Control's been a buy. Blue-Red Control hasn't felt remotely hard. It appears like it is because they have a bunch of hard counter spells and you don't, but they only have 8 ways to deal damage main deck, and you have more than enough ways to stop 8 threats from ever dealing damage to you, and you have the same amount of card draw. So you can just mill out the blue-red decks pretty easily. Like you never beat the blue-red decks with approach, but you can mill the blue-red decks very easily. You just have to know from turn 1 that your plan is to mill them. Like, your plan's not to beat them with damage. Your plan's to mill them from turn 1. You will not beat them with the approach. Yeah. Yeah, you just have to play this super long game that they're not expecting you to play. But mill is how you beat the blue-red decks. Game 2 and 3 is a little different. Like, you bring in your creatures, you take out, like, your Effer Meltdowns and the authorities and some fumigates and stuff, and like it's a trickier game because then they have their thing in the ices and their Pias, but like generally you can mill them in game 1, and in a paper setting, if you take the time to mill them in game 1, game 2 typically doesn't ever finish. Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to know you both decks have the same amount of card draws. So you have to actively know you're trying to mill them from turn 1, and you need to pay attention to only let yourself draw cards like when you're ahead and stuff. Like, you remember a couple PTs back where Shota was playing versus another control deck, and at like I don't know, like turn 10 or whatever, he counted the decks and conceded because he knew the game was over. But you basically have to have that kind of insight into the match. You basically just have to, from turn 1, know that that's your game plan the whole way down. So unfortunately, if he's got a Shrine, he can just slam Ulamog. The Meltdown's kind of odd because the Meltdown doesn't work with Blessed Alliance, but like you can leverage the spot that you use it in. And the Meltdown's really concession to mono red. Like if you're only playing the Blessed Alliances and then like waiting on stasis snares and stuff like that, sometimes you just don't draw a 2-drop interactive spell and you lose. It's really about just having to have more 2-drops. And you can play Immolating Glare, but like Immolating Glare is not good versus Blessed Hydra, it's not good versus the gods. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. Well, if he's got a spell, he's got a spell. But it's a good chance we still game 1 unless he has Ulamog this turn. If he has Ulamog this turn, things obviously get a lot harder. I like to keep a little thing to tell me how many cards down we are, which at the moment we're 7 cards down. Essence Scatter is a card that I kind of want to put in the deck. But Essence Scatter's not good if like they're on the play and they go 1-drop, 2-drop. Sure, you're counterspelling their 3-drop, but like it's not really dealing with anything on the board. They don't always have the 3-drop. Just want a land here. That's not a land. So we're 6 cards down, and we have to hit a land drop basically this turn. None of those are a land drop. This is probably losing then. I guess we'll take the cast out. The Glimmer doesn't do anything. We have another Glimmer. So now it's 2 cards down. We pretty much have to hit a land with this Glimmer. So one of these is going to be the approach, which we have to leave on top. Bottom, and the second card down needs to be a land. Yeah, the second card down was a land, so now we need to have another untapped land in the top 2 cards if he has Ulamog. Which we assume he has Ulamog. Yeah, Meltdown's very good versus the gods. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and tap that one for white. Go ahead and cycle this so I can press F6. What he gets doesn't matter. We need a land in the top 2 cards. That's not a land. And so we have exactly 1 draw step to find an untapped land or the game's over. I think Essence Scatter is worth being in the deck, but I don't think it's worth cutting over the Meltdowns and the Blessed Alliances. Sideboarding here is kind of difficult. Like, none of our spells do well. They could have different sideboarding plans. They could have the Tireless Tracker Fault Not sideboard plan. They could be going all the way up to Reality Smashers and Big Chandras. It's just a number of different ways for them to try to beat us. But for the most part, the Negates are good versus all of them. The Torrential Gearhulks are good versus all of them. The Fumigates are bad versus all of them. Descent from the Sinful is just better than Fumigate. I've actually toyed with Hour of Promise in this because I was thinking killing the enchantments could do a lot. Like, that's obviously exceptionally thin, and that's nothing that we're thinking about, but it does do something. We don't really have things to take out, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Don't really want the cats don't do a lot. We still have some Wraths. None of these cards seem like they do much. Maybe a Fumigate's just better than a cat? I don't know. The cats don't seem like they do a lot. Definitely don't want to forward these. Definitely don't want Linvalas. They're too slow. We definitely don't want all the Fumigates, even though we may want some. Meltdowns, I guess, aren't terrible, but we have Blessed Alliances still to beat TKS. Just don't really have any good cards. Bring in one of each and let God sort it out. That seems terrible. The cats don't seem good because they're definitely not sideboarding out their Chandras. Tapping 5 mana just seems bad. Alright. None of our plans seem good. This is one of the reasons this is our harder match. We make so many concessions to beat the other decks that we can't really sideboard well for this deck. Our best plan is just to counterspell as many ramp spells as they have and hope they miss under anywhere between 5 and 7 Eldrazi's. 5 and 7, 7 cost plus Eldrazi's. We can beat all the Reality Smashers and Fault Knots and Tireless Trackers in the world, but we can't beat the other stuff. Cards that I would likely sideboard out if I had things to bring in. We have 3 of them in our hand, so we're going to mulligan this. And this hand's fine. Do I want a land? Sure, I want at least a 4th land. Yeah, Summary Dismissal is something that if the ramp deck is popular enough is something that will have to be put in my sideboard. Rudy plays Summary Dismissals as well. I probably might try it. I probably at least put one in over the Hours. We've already stated that the Hours is a bad card, so right off the top that seems like a reasonable quick change. The Limvalas haven't been particularly impressive either, so cutting a Limvala wouldn't be that bad. Yeah, it's a Tireless Tracker. But yeah, I'm going to have some Summary Dismissals for this match. Probably have to cast a cast out next turn on the tracker. Have to counterspell any ramp spell that there is, so. The Limvalas have only really impressed in the Zombies match, and I feel like we're favored enough versus the Zombies match not to worry about that. If he untaps and just slams Chandra or an Hours of Promise, things are going to go very poorly. He's cycled to Beneath the Sand, so I'm just imagining that he has all the things in the world. He'll probably ditch the Glimmer. We really hope he lets us keep the Glimmer, though. Wow, he let us keep the Glimmer. Happy days. I don't care about the approach from the Second Sun, so getting to keep the Glimmer is pretty nice, I think. Can't do anything about that, and now comes problems. Because he can Ulamog next turn. Definitely don't want either land. Well, I guess we're not just dead to Ulamog. We're obviously not happy about it, but we're not just dead to it. It's just a World Breaker? Just a World Breaker. That's 9 mana. Yep, just a World Breaker. Ain't no thing, it's just a World Breaker. It's killing my land. Alright, we'll tap the land. Not in good shape. I don't know it off the top of my head. He keeps working on it, but like he cut the Unsummons, he cut Ephor Meltdowns. I don't even know how well he's been doing. feel like we're obviously pretty far behind here. We'll hold the plains. He got another world breaker, so he can kill another random land. That's fine. Or he can just get back his other world breaker. Either way, I'm in SOL type shape. Oh, it's a fault knot. Well, that one doesn't do anything. We do have 2 Descents and a Fumigate in the deck, so we might be able to draw 2 cards. That would be nice. Alright, well, we have a counterspell now. Counterspells are fun, right? Yeah, he's just more of a control deck, which this deck's not really a control deck. It's just Fumigate and get both of his dudes back. Or sorry. Alright, well, we have to counterspell that. You just can't beat it, and there's only 1 cast out left in the deck. It's arguable that we're far enough behind that we should look for a Descent. Are we far enough behind to just go look for a Descent? Nah. I was thinking about just going and looking for a Descent. He still has the World Breaker in hand. Probably sacking the Cataract. If we knew that he didn't have this in hand, there's a good chance that we would have just drawed 4 there and saw if we could have got there. So he's killing that to deal a casual 8 damage to me. That does a lot, but not that worried about it. Creeping mode. Alright. Surprised that he's killing a land and not getting his cast out back. So we have 1 turn and 2 outs. That doesn't give us another turn, so we're dead. We might have got there if we played it the other way. Except we would have just died to the Ulamog trigger, but that's beside the point. Alright, so... No, it's just, again, still just not really much I can sideboard here. We brought into 2 Descends too. We could hit either of the Descends. 1 land. It's got all the cards we want, but it's only got 1 land. It's pretty easy to have all the cards you want when you only have 1 land. Now we have double approach and a Fumigate. Alright. Well, we do not win this game. Be a literal miracle to win this game. Rip. We had plenty of outs last game, it just didn't matter. Another TKS, sure. Got double glimmer now. If we draw 1 land and his hand's bad, maybe there's some miracle that we get there, but... He took the negate. That means he almost undoubtedly has an hours. We just can't beat the hours, no matter what. Missing a land drop's pretty vital as well. Hmm. So our only hope here is he doesn't have real Eldrazi in his hand. Well, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That puts him at 10. I guess we'll counterspell if it puts him at 10. Nah. That's fine. Probably not going to miss the card drop for his turn anyway, and there's a good chance he could have another hours or anything. If he has Ulamog, I don't think we're winning the game no matter what. Is that a good draw? It's probably not a good enough draw, but it's certainly a good draw. It's certainly a good draw. We get to draw a card too. It's just kind of cute. Knocks him off 2 lands, but he gets to sack the clue. Alright, well, if he doesn't have an Eldrazi, or his Eldrazi is exactly Ulamog and he doesn't have 2 lands, we're probably okay. He's at 8, though. It's pretty easy for him just to have a land. Alright, well, he had a creeping mode. This game is not going in a terrible shape. All we have to do is have him miss lands. Now we have a negate. Well, there's a land. That's unfortunate. Having to counterspell to creeping mode. It's kind of funny. Well, we don't want either of those. We want a land. Didn't get a land. Rip. There's not even a Supreme Will in our graveyard, is there? There is not even a Supreme Will in our graveyard, which means when he plays Ulamog, we can't even counter it. That's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal, too. Sure, so now he can just go get another one of those. If he chooses, if he doesn't sacrifice it at all, he definitely has Ulamog. So he went and got another World Breaker. Have no Censor or anything in our graveyard, so we just have to go draw 2. So we need the lands, and we need another approach would be good. There's another approach. That's kind of interesting then. Have 2 draw steps to hit a land? That's probably fine. 2 draw steps to hit a land. Not a land. Yep. Why would it be a land? And we hit one with the second draw step. A warping well wrecked, but the first one getting counterspelled doesn't matter. It's the second one getting counterspelled that does matter. It's the second one getting counterspelled that does matter. I'm back and forth on gear hooks on the board for the same reason. Sometimes it's hard to hit anything. I mean, we still hit a great spell. We just didn't hit a great spell for this match. Tapping 4 mana? What's he tapping for 4 mana? He's got a World Breaker. He's casting a Creeping instead of a World Breaker. And a Spring. Alright, well, we win. I don't understand why he didn't kill a land. I guess us having the second approach just isn't something that's likely to happen, but... Alright, well, we got the 4-1. I'm glad we kept the approach. They didn't draw Ulamog, and we got there versus a very rough match. So we've won at least a pity chest. Got the 3-1, got the pity chest. I think we punted to match 3. I think we could be 4-0 if we'd played a little better. I keep saying punted, but like it was punted in that situation. I don't actually know that it was incorrect overall. I don't actually know that we made a play mistake on that game. I have to think about it. I might actually go back and review it later. Try to decide whether I think it was a play mistake or not. Yeah, we got a little lucky there. I'm fine with this hand versus everything except for mono red. Yep, don't like that ramp match at all. If it's mono black Eldrazi, it's not great for us. If it's zombies, this hand's decent. It's a little slow, but it's decent. With this black green, this hand's probably fine. It's just a Grim Flare. Grim Flares are actually really good. Not going to cycle the Censor because the 3 drops from their deck are so brutal. And we can always cycle it on this turn if we want to. I've not played versus the Delirium style black green yet. I have to imagine we're a favorite versus it, right? It'd be hard not to be a favorite, right? I've not saw the creeping modes in the sideboard of the ramp decks. I kind of liked them. They seem like they did a lot. It'll probably depend on how many planeswalkers he has. It's probably hard for us to deal with a lot of planeswalkers pre-board. Wow, he only discarded 1 card? That seems pretty bad for me. He lacks all of his cards that much. Probably cycle this and then see what we draw and then make a decision. Yeah, looks like we're going to have an extra mana next turn as well, so. We'll wait on the Censor. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Meltdown on this, I think. They could have Blossoming Defense. Now they can just resolve something great. I think most of their great spells would be playing either play around the Censor or cost 5 mana though, so I'm fine with that. That card's not very consequential. That was the forest he showed us, by the way, so I can go ahead and get rid of that now. We know none of the cards in his hand. We got this sweet Blessed Alliance that doesn't do a whole lot versus Nissa. I'm not really worried about his Nissa Ultimate, though. Like, the cards he draws don't really impact what we do at all. Like, we're a fumigate deck. We don't care a whole lot about what? About just a pile of creatures and removal? Excuse me. Hmm. Yeah. Not playing that farmland because that farmland's probably being cycled this game when we already have 5 lands still in our hand. It's 10 land and 16 cards we found. Excuse me again. If he only attacks with the snake, I'll probably Bless and Alliance it. Okay. Sure. Well, that's a lot of things, so with that being a lot of things, it looks like we're probably going to be drawing for the Fumigate. Rip. Not good, folks. Sometimes you just miss on drawing a 4 of in your top 20-ish cards. So next turn he can minus this again. So we pretty much have to hit it. So we have to cycle. We have exactly one more draw step. "21 cards deep. Didn't get there. That's unfortunate. It's 28 cards down was our first Fumigate. Yeah, sometimes you just don't hit anything. I bring in the full conversion versus them because they could have Lost Legacy or anything. I say full conversion, but I didn't actually mean it. I don't want the Descent from Unsinfuls. Didn't actually mean it. JK. I don't know, maybe I do want them. Yeah, they seem fine. I'll try one more. Hand's fine. They have discard spells and stuff though, so we're likely not to have to Fumigate later. I don't mind bringing in all these little creatures again. They could have Lost Legacy, and they buy time. Buying times. This deck should literally just come with like a clock on top of it. All it wants to do is buy time nonstop. Opponent apparently has a tough mulligan decision. Oh, for the new people, there's a link to the Twitter down below, and every time I go live is on said Twitterus. Also, all the deck lists I play are there as well, and a link to my relevant YouTubes there. Thank you for following, Loopster. Yeah, we'll pretend that's how you pronounce your name because I don't have any idea. This hand's pretty solid though. Can't really deal with the earliest of early snakes, but hand got probably not better, but it's another way to try to draw land. No snake, please. Opponent has mismatched land. There's no justice in the world that gives him that snake. No justice for opponent getting the snake with his mismatched lands. I will not counterspell any creature here. Maybe Rishkar if I feel like it, but this probably is just taking 2 damage. Would counterspell Anissa? What's up, Dan? I'd probably have counterspelled our Rishkar because that would have just put 8 power on the board with a still a minimum of 2 turns out on this. But I'm not going to counterspell like a Grim Flare or another snake or anything like that. Well, opponents has apparently a tough decision. Transgress. I'm going to go ahead and use the Supreme Will. I don't care about any card he can take from my hand except for the one that can get me my land. All these other cards seem redundant here. It's good to note that one of the Fumigates is on the bottom of the deck, so if he takes that Fumigate, our odds of hitting another Fumigate go lower. But had to draw lands. The Glimmer and the High-Row are roughly the same. The Regal and the Fumigate are roughly the same. I don't care if he takes the approach. I've already forgot what the second card I put on the bottom was. It was like a Fumigate and something I don't care about. And something else I don't care about. Fumigate, Meltdown, and something. Yep. Got 37 minutes before the Pauper event. Should probably go ahead and sign up for the Pauper event before I forget about it. I am known to forget things. Only 14 people are signed up in this? That can't be right. More people play Pauper than that. Anyway. Oh wait, no, I want to make a change to the deck. For any of you guys that play Pauper, do you think I need 4 Screds, or do you think 1 Daze and 3 Screds is better? I think I want the 4th Scred. This is 36 minutes. We go ahead and sign up. I like the challenges. The challenges have pretty solid EV to them. Yes, it's definitely not a bad format. I just don't know a whole lot about it, but if I'm going to be awake during the day, I want to get myself playing multiple challenges every weekend. I already feel pretty confident in the Commander because Commander's not that hard of a format, but kind of think it's fine just to kill this snake, but we already have this Fumigate, so I don't think I'm going to bother. I think I'm willing just to take the 2 damage. Maybe it'll dissuade him from playing Anissa, which is the card that I really care about him playing. He did take the Glimmer, which is it's fine. It's probably the best card in my hand, arbitrarily speaking. Like, I wouldn't care about the approach. He could have Lost Legacy for the approach as well, so like there might not be any reason for him to take the approach. Opponent missed a land drop. So I feel pretty safe going for that. He could have Lost Legacy, so taking the approach might not even do anything. Yeah, we're in the same thing here, Slow Hands. We get about somewhere between like 9 and 13 people on average for our Friday Night Magics, which is more than a lot of places have, but like not very good, but it's pretty nice. Dan Bars from my local, local dopes from my local, so pretty fun. We don't really have much more than Friday Night Magics and like an occasional Wednesday Modern event. Wish we had more people, but we have what we have. It's one of the reasons I play so much online. Doomfall. Alright. So he can take the Limvala now, if he wants. I saw a black-green deck the other day that had the full 4 Doomfalls and full 4 Transgress in the sideboard. I wonder if that's what we're playing versus. I believe so, local. I am pretty sure that's who I'm thinking it is. He called me Ray, so I think it basically has to be Daniel. Which would make sense since his last name is, you know, I don't want to say it on stream, but you know. Yeah, I thought he'd take the Limvala because the Limvala just beats the board. I guess we'll Fumigate. I don't really want to kill that stuff, but there's no real reason not to. I'd rather Fumigate before I play the Regal. Well, Modern is definitely on the lower end side of things around here as well, but it's like not completely dead yet. I like playing Modern. Yeah, I don't want to say his last name on stream, but yeah, the BAR is kind of a tell. Oh, so he's gonna get one of his things back? I guess that means he thinks he can't protect it? What did he get back? He got back the Sneaky Snake. Alright, we'll just play this. We've missed on land now like multiple turns. Kind of sucks that he could just tick up on that, but it is what it is. I might sideboard the Cats out now that we know he's on Liliana. I assumed he was on Liliana before, but seeing it and assuming it are two different things. Walking Ballista. No, fam. Not a Walking Ballista. Liliana's a long way away from ultimating those, so. That definitely, puts a nice little 7 here. Regal's a good card. I don't understand why people like this card. I guess it doesn't have lifelink by itself. It's other cats, but it's still pretty nice. I had never read this card closely enough. I thought it just put 1/1 cats into play. I didn't realize that the cats had lifelink on their own. So that was quite the treat when I found that out. Like somebody killed my cat the other day and my kitty cats had lifelink still. And I was like, really? Let me read this again. Willing to block anything that I'm allowed to block. Because we just plan on casting this Fumigate. Go ahead and put 6 down here because we're drawing a card for our turn. Willing to block anything that he will allow me to block. Probably shouldn't allow me to block anything. Give this man his life. Oh, second Fumigate's great. Again, he can still have Lost Legacy though, so this isn't everything. Take a good amount of damage, but we're going to gain 3. Hey, opponent plays a lot. He knows how to hold priority. I'd say 9 out of 10 players on Moto won't do that. He may not have Lost Legacy. If he doesn't have Lost Legacy, I'll find it amazing if he can win from here. He got another Sneakity Snake. And we're drawing for our turn, so that's down to 15. And there's just no way he can deal 20 to me and the Glimmer wins, so there's no reason to cast Fumigate here. It's even the 5th card, so like I'm protected from Transgress and I'm protected from Doomfall. Lost Legacy is the only card that can beat me now. Don't care. Doesn't kill me. Don't care, doesn't kill me. My favorite thing to say. It does do a lot. Like, that's 12 damage. That is a bunch of damage. And these 2 cards snap go to the bottom. Don't care what they are. I guess I would keep an approach. Even though the approach is the 5th card, so it's irrelevant. Bottom, bottom. And this is the approach. And game 3 time. This deck actually put up a really good fight considering our draw was so well. That extra Descent was pretty helpful that game too. I kind of want to play another Descent. These cats don't seem good if he has Liliana, right? The cats don't seem good if he has Liliana, I don't think. Let's bring some counter spells back in to try to stop some of those big plays. Or to cycle early. Unfortunately, we're on the draw, so a Censor can't get a snake, and the snake's all that matters. This hand's fine. I'm reluctant to keep this hand, but we have 4 lands and we have a Fumigate. I guess that's what I want the most versus him. We even have a cast out for the first Planeswalker, even though it'll get its value. I guess this hand's fine versus everything other than a bunch of discard spells. We just really want no snake here. Was a snake. Kinda want to play this, just in case he attacks with the Blessed Alliance. I brought in the Hour, I think, didn't I? Yeah, I brought in the Hour. Alright. Sweet. Well, we don't care a whole lot about the Planeswalker if he doesn't have the snake in play. Yeah, that's a good one. Can probably cycle this other farmland. This game is definitely going to be interesting, I think. Could be worth cycling the cast out, but I don't think I'm going to. I think if he lets me kill both my Fumigates, I'm pretty happy. Or keep both my Fumigates, I'm pretty happy. Because this deck's pretty good at leveraging a spot for them. Oh wow, he missed the land drop too. He drew a land. I don't think there's a way for him to get both Fumigates out of our hand, so we're definitely going to just slam Fumigate. I think Fumigate's worth killing a tracker. Hopefully he doesn't have two discard spells. If he does, we're going to have to draw pretty well. Okay, he took the Linvala, so that's good. We know we're killing at least a tracker. Drawing that extra land isn't something we wanted. We have a lot of powerful cards, though. Still have our 4, well, with the 2 Supreme Wills, we still have 7 good draw spells here. That just gets a land. That's fine. Probably worth killing that. Just to stop him from approaching. Or just to stop him from cycling, rather. He's probably going to cast something like a Gearhulk now and put us on a 2 or 3 turn clock. But he may not. Him casting like a Nissa is the best thing he can cast for us. Ooh, a Walking Ballista is a good one for him. That was a good draw for us. Well, that wasn't a good draw for us, actually, because I'm assuming that he also has a Gearhulk. I don't think he makes that play without a Gearhulk. I don't think he wastes the Traverse last turn if he didn't have a Gearhulk. But we can still draw. We still have 2 more Fumigates. We still have both Descents, and we still have an hour. So, like, we have 5 draw spells to get around this. But we pretty much have to hit it this turn. Oh, well. And you can always just draw that. It's one of the beauties about this deck. Like, you can look like you're in terrible shape and just draw the second sun and win. But like I said, we had a lot of outs. We had 5 Rafts. We had the 2 Approach to Sands. We could have drawn a Blessed Alliance, which was 3 more Blessed Alliances. We could have drawn a Cast Out, which there's 3 more Cast Outs. Could I be more lucky, is what was asked. Eh, 4-1. Could we be more lucky? I mean, we had most of our deck. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hits that turn to get a redraw. And then, like, any of these cycling things, like we had a Hieroglyphic that cycles, we had the 2 Supreme Wills that cycled, we had some Sensors that cycled. So we had 16s, we were in fine shape, and then we had, so over half of our deck was a good hit. Obviously we hit the very best hit in the deck, but, you know, we were live to a lot of outs there. Just draw a few more of our cards. Okay, Moto's not going to let us draw more of our cards. Anyway, it was a pretty decent stream. Nice 4-1. But I'm going to hop offline and go find a snack and rest my back a little bit in preparation for the Pauper event. Thank you all for watching. That's new. I appreciate the new followers. I appreciate the new subscriber that I got. Subscribers are great. We love you people. I'll definitely be back tomorrow, and let's see who we're going to host. I always want to host somebody. I guess we'll host Matt. Matt's on. Not that this guy needs me at all. I have no clue what he's playing. It's Grand Prix Denver testing, so it's more standard. Always try to host a standard player, because standard's the only format I really play. But again, as I said, appreciate you guys all being here.